What's up YouTube? Tonight's video is Mega Gyarados. Mega Gyarados has got Mold Breaker, which ignores Pokemon's abilities, and prior to that it gets Moxie as a Gyarados, so you can do some pretty powerful combinations. What do you think of Mega Gyarados? Do you like this Pokemon? Do you hate it? I actually don't mind it. Gyarados has always been a pretty good Pokemon in all the games, so it's a very reliable Pokemon on your team. We're doing all the Mega Pokemon. It's the journey to do all of them. Thank you everyone that's been with me on this journey. If you're new, hello. Let's get some likes on today's video. Let's go. Let's get some momentum happening. And today, I'm going to be showing you some doubles and singles battles with Gyarados. And I had some really, really good battles this team, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so first team here we've got is a Sylveon and Jolteon lead. Now, I smelled a rat because I seen Jolteon, and that's, you know, either that's like a Volt-absorbing Pokemon, or it might be doing something like Round. So what Round is, basically it's a combination attack from two Pokemon. So the first Pokemon, generally a fast Pokemon goes first, and then say a slow Pokemon, which has a big special attack, say Sylveon, goes instantly after, and that would completely destroy my Mega Gyarados. So I really had to get around this. Now, Raichu is there as Lightning Rod support, and also had the main player of my team, which is Sableye. I've used Sableye a lot. This set is actually geared towards specifically Mega Gyarados, and it worked really, really well. And Sableye is a really nice little support Pokemon in doubles. It works very well in a lot of teams. So let me show you this strategy here. So with this, we've got Rain Dance, and we've got Prankster and Rain Dance, which is useful for just removing weather, for Gyarados' like waterfall and stuff like that. It's very good for that. It's getting rid of sand and, annoying stuff like that. Now, I've got a full light screen, a reflect set. This is very good because it allows Gyarados to get Dragon Dances up, and I can also disable annoying moves like, say, Round or super effective moves. So I went for the Jolteon. It's got a sash. That didn't really surprise me. It's quite a common item for it, well, at the moment at least. And we've only got one round here. So if I didn't go for Disable on the Sylveon, I would have been gone there, or I'd definitely gone for sure, because that was a pixelate round. So instead of me disabling the Jolteon, I disabled the Sylveon there. So I've got one waterfall used up already. I've got to protect. I'm thinking, I actually need to get rid of this Sylveon here. So I thought I might be able to bait out, say, a Thunderbolt here. So if I swap out the Sableye into the Raichu, if there's any electric attacks, Lightning Rod for Raichu will absorb that. And I can go for the Fake Out if they decide to protect this turn, which they did. So that was a pretty good turn there, for my team. So Sylveon takes heavy damage there. I didn't faint it, but, I got some good damage there. Hyper Voice, that does a lot of damage, almost fainting me. So what I can do here now is I can go for, the Jolteon. Jolteon's sort of like the easy target to go for because we know it's used Protect. So I was like, I reckon I'll go Fake Out, finish the Jolteon off, and then go for Waterfall on the Sylveon, and then I can get a Moxie on my Gyarados, and then we can look at Mega Evolving. All right, so clapping them cheeks there. Oh, that would probably zap you, and that's the end of Jolteon. Here comes the Waterfall, and that's the Sylveon down. So it was obviously that crit didn't matter. It was difficult to work around that, but it worked in the end, right? Sableye was the GOAT, though. So that's a Moxie, +1 an attack there. So now we're rolling. The problem is I did sustain a lot of damage, though. So it is a little bit susceptible to, say, priority moves. So we've got a Charizard. I'm like, yep, it's going to be Charizard. And we've got a Basculation. So we got two really, really very, very competitive Pokemon here. Very powerful Pokemon. Now, I've got 16 health left, so I don't have a lot of play here. I'm probably going to faint to a water gun, so I'm thinking if I go for Mega Evolution on Basculation, they know I've got Protect, and Protect would be a really, really obvious play here, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take the risk and go for Basculation, because that is a problem Pokemon. Now, with Raichu, I can go for Volt Switch as well. So I actually aimed it at Basculation just in case Basculation, say with Aqua Jet or just, finish off my Gyarados, right? I need to get some damage on that. So I guess it sort of looks like a big prawn, don't you think? I like prawns. Like, prawns are super, super good. Who out there likes prawns, man? They're super good. Like, a little bit of seafood sauce. Oh, man, I love them. That's so good. I like some seafood, but I'd say like prawns would be up there. Fish and prawns are nice. All right, so we got some sun there from Charizard. Who would have guessed? And that worked really, really well. Basculation is going to go down like a sack of potatoes. So That is a very powerful threat gone. So now I've got the Volt Switch up, outspeeding Zard, and really, really good damage at a Charizard. So I'm thinking, well, you're probably just going to go for Heat Wave, right? That makes sense. So the other Pokemon I brought was Archaludon too. So it's actually a pretty solid team, but I really like using Sableye and Raichu the most. It just worked the best. So here comes the Heat Wave. I know Gyarados is going to faint here. Sableye almost bites the dust as well. But that was a very, very good start. Like, I took out, what, 3 Pokemon, and they finally took one out there. So Sableye's looking a little scathed, and so is Raichu. So Raichu, I can swap Raichu in here, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to show them my 4th Pokemon, and I'm going to show you guys my full strategy as well with the team. So we got the Archaludon. So what I can do here is I can go for Electroshock. Now, obviously, that's a 2-turn base move, not in the sun, but I can go for a Prankster Rain Dance, put that rain down, get rid of the sun, and Charizard is virtually just a bot with no sun, and you can just faint it right. Now, this also has Chople Berry as well for any, like, fighting type moves. Sometimes Charizard can run Focus Blast on there, some sort of, like, more fringe sets, you know, from like Solar Beam, Heat Wave, Air Slash. It can carry that. So I like to run Chople on this as well because that, you know, will do a lot of damage. So we got the rain. They went for protection here and I went for Electroshock. So like, okay, well, it's only a matter of time before this actually faints. So I got a special attack rise, which didn't really matter. Charizard was going to get completely destroyed by this. Anyway, now this is a good case in point. You know how I was talking about putting a Chople Berry on my Archaludon here. So I just went for the same attack again. I was like, all right, I'm going to throw the light screen up here because obviously Charizard is going to attack this turn. So I've got light screen up. Prankster light screen, really good. And they had Focus Blast. So I had light screen plus Chople Berry. So I was like, this is not going to do anything to Archaludon. Look at that. Like, that would have easily have taken me out if I didn't have those 2 things. And it still did like nearly half my health. So you know, that's why I had that on there for, because, you know, I've been fainted by Focus Blast, you know, before a lot of times. So I can go for Electroshock here, but that's the end of the Charizard. Charizard Y. So, you know, those last 2 Pokemon obviously were fairly strong, and you can see the round strategy can be quite strong too, but it has a key weakness. If you can shut one down, or say you use Protect, that's how you shut those round strategies down fairly easy. But cool team there at the start, and let's get on to the next one. If you enjoy the videos, if you love them, if you want to keep seeing them, make sure you hit that like button. Drop me a comment below. I don't know, it could be anything. Good morning, a good night. I just hope you're having a good day. Tell me what you think and tell me what Pokemon you'd like to see. And, you know, I hope you've really been enjoying the content. I've been smashing it out. I think we've been doing this for 2 weeks now, like covering every Mega. So it's been super, super fun. Okay, I got some really good ones coming up this weekend too I've been working on. All right, next battle here. So we got Incineroar and Sneasler. Wow, I've never seen this combination in my life. It's so rare, you know. So I tried to contain my sarcasm, but I couldn't. So I'm thinking this is kind of nasty because I got intimidated. So we're going to Garchomp. Now Garchomp, this is a standard Garchomp, you know, set. But I ran this one a little bit different because I actually gave it Iron Head. Now, this team is a little bit weak to Fairy-type Pokemon, so I really needed that move on there for Iron Head. So we got Assurance. Wow, Assurance. Okay, so that was interesting. So Rough Skin did a lot to Incineroar. In fact, it probably did as much as Assurance did. So Assurance is an interesting move to run on that. So I've got the Disable. I can't use Disable on Incineroar because it's a Dark type and Prankster's going to fail. So I figured I'd just swap the Garchomp out and swap it back into Gyarados here. Now, I will say something too. Intimidate on Gyarados is still good, right? It's not a bad ability to run. I'm just using Moxie because I'm trying to get like a sweeping set, but you do have to watch a little bit. You know, you might be able to activate like Defiant on other Pokemon. I guess that's the risk. So Incineroar actually has Brick Break and got rid of my screens. I was like, wow, that's you know, that's kind of, you know, pretty specific having that on your Incineroar. So I was like, I'm glad you guys got to see this because, you know, now my Sableye is getting countered. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I mean, I can set it up again. I just have to get rid of this Incineroar. But, you know, that was interesting that it did have Brick Break there. So Gyarados does avoid the Rock Slide. Sneasler is just spamming Rock Slide. I guess they're just going for, you know, like people just use it to go for flinches. You know, really fast Pokemon just spam Rock Slide. It's like the easiest thing to do, just pray for a flinch. So Assurance is doing some big damage there to Saber. So Assurance and Brick Break. Interesting. I'll give them some credit for that. You know, I roasted the Incineroar at the start there, but, you know, they got some different moves on it. So thinking here, Incineroar has, you know, it has a little bit of damage done to it, and I need to get rid of it. But then they had a Quick Claw on Incineroar too, so Quick Claw. So we got the Rain Dance from the Sableye. So I'm ready to get my Waterfall KO here. Here comes the Brick Break, and they broke my screen again. I'm like, come on, bro. Stop breaking my screen, you know. So Reflector's gone instantly, and I went for the Waterfall here, and that's going to take out Incineroar. But, you know, I'll give them some credit for that. That was some good stuff there. Assurance and Brick Break. Completely counter my screens. So the bad thing is, though, I did still get the Moxie up, and I'm outspeeding this Sneasler. And Sableye actually hang on by a thread there, which is pretty cool. Sableye just has so many good moves and stuff, but it is a very, very passive Pokemon for sure. And it is weak to, you know, say stuff like, say a Sylveon. What is this trainer's name anyway? And what is this Aerodactyl's name? Wait, I think bro fell asleep on the keyboard and, you know, their head fell on the A and then it just sort of spammed down there. What's going on? That's like a speedrun one. No, wait, a speedrun one would just be like 1A, wouldn't it? Anyway, so Aerodactyl's a little bit scary. Very, very fast Pokemon. Now, if you're curious, this is a Jolly Gyarados as well. I'm not running Adamant, I'm running Jolly. We're going for speed here. And when it Mega Evolves, I don't think it gets any speed at all. I think it just stays exactly the same and, you know, it gets more bulk and more attack and changes type, you know, to Water Dark. What do you think's better? Normal Gyarados with Water and Flying or Water and Dark on Mega Gyarados? I'm trying to think of that. Obviously, you've got, like, a big 4 times weak to Electric. But you're also flying, and then, say, with Water and Dark, you've got a big fighting and fairy weakness. I guess that sort of depends on the format you play, too. So we're going to disable that Rock Slide. I'm about sick of that, and I went for the Waterfall, outspeeding the Aerodactyl, and that's the end of, that would have hurt as well. So bye-bye, the Aerodactyl. You don't get to see Aerodactyl too much. So Sneasler went for a Rock Slide and it's going to get disabled. So I'm in a very strong position now after getting all my screens broken. And what is their name? Arca? I don't know what that. I'm not sure what's going on today. If you see any interesting names or, you know, non-English trainer names, if you want to translate them and put them in the comment section, go for it. I really appreciate that. I'll always like to, you know, read through your comments and stuff like that. I do try and reply to most of my comments too, or if not all of them. I do it in the morning when I'm eating my breakfast. You know, if you're thinking of me and, like, leave a comment, I'll be eating my breakfast, my Wheat Bix, and I'll be replying to stuff. Okay, so I'm going to be setting up the Reflect there. I'm going to go for the, I was almost going to say, where's the Incineroar with Brick Break? And we got the Dire Claw. So I blocked that one, and here comes Dragon Claw. Sableye is going to faint there. But, you know, I felt like that was the right play, getting the Reflect up there. So looking at what I've got left, I've got a Sinister, which is, you know, Sinister's very good at just redirecting the moves of Rage Powder. And it's also got Hospitality as well, so I can heal up my Gyarados, which is, you know, kind of weak at the moment. Okay, so I sipped on some tea. Hang on, I actually going to sip on some tea right now. Thank you, Sinister. That was, it tasted very green. Now, I've got Waterfall. The big threat here, in my opinion, isn't Sneasler. Sneasler's just sitting there and spamming Rock Slide and Dire Claw. It really only does the same thing. Garchomp's kind of nasty, so I can go for Waterfall in the rain against that and see if we can finish it off. So I'm going to go for Rage Powder here. This is going to redirect, you know, a Dire Claw, which is going to be nasty. So, or it's going to go for Close Combat. So either one of those moves is going to be great to, you know, to redirect. And that's the end of Garchomp there. Rolled out like a lounger and rug. Close Combat, you know, redirected into the Ghost Pokemon. So they're done. There's nothing they can do there. The Gyarados just trampled Arcanid Lamp. I don't know. Wait, Archangel Damp. Oh, Archangel. I have no idea. All right, next battle. This was an interesting battle. We've got, like, some scary Pokemon there as well. Another Basculegion. Okay. So we got Archuludit and Basculegions. They were playing no games of these Pokemon. And we got Sableye. So what is that? What are these nicknames? So I've got Reflect here, so I thought, all right, well, Reflect's going to be a good one for this. They don't have any rain at the moment for Electroshock on that Archaludon. But I wasn't too keen on taking an attack this time. I just wanted to see what they were going to do. I thought, well, I'll set a couple of screens up with the the Sableye, right? That's a safe play. So we got that Reflect up. And now we've got Rain Dance. So I was like, yeah, I knew they'd have some way to set the Rain Dance. That's going to benefit the Basculegion with Swift Swim, or Adaptability, so that's Swift Swim, and then Electroshock. So that was pretty obvious what they were going to do there. So that didn't really take me by surprise. I knew they were going to set the Rain up. So now I'm thinking here, I did have a look at their team at the start of the battle. So I'm thinking, well, I could do a Swapsy here. Or I could disable. I was like, I'm going to go disable. Let's disable their Electroshock. And I can D-Dance up here, which is going to give me a big attack stat, and it's going to give me some speed. Gyarados is it's got some reasonable bulk to it. So Basculegion's going to slide out there, and we've got next Pokemon, Meganium. So they've got Mega Meganium. Now, I want to say this straight away. Their team, the Pokemon that they picked to verse me with actually countered me really, really well. So this was very, very difficult. I was trying to think how I was going to get around this. I had to utilize my Sableye a lot because I'm expecting Dazzling Gleam for that Meganium. So it was a very, very scary Pokemon. And I also had on the other side I had the Archaludon spamming Electroshock. So I was like, man, this is tough. I'm surrounded by counters. Sableye was literally holding my Gyarados together with like duct tape right now. So we've got that. We got those mega cushions. They're flying around on Meganium's neck, and we got to get rid of this Meganium. But first things first, I thought I'd get some light screen going. So Reflect, light screen, and also this allowed me to see Meganium's moves, and then I could go for I could go for the disable there. So that had Thunderbolt. That had Thunderbolt and Electroshock. So I was like, man, they've got two moves there. That's crazy. So I'm like, man, these counters, like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm getting counters so hard here. How am I going to get out of this? So I lived my attack thanks to the light screen. So I was like, all right, I have to get rid of that Mega Meganium now. Like, no games. And I've got Raichu. So I thought, well, I could go into the Raichu. Say I go for the Mega, absorb that. Say I absorb that Thunderbolt with the Raichu, and then I go for I go for the Meganium there. That's my only play. I mean, this is my only play just to stay in the game here. I'm just holding on at the moment. So going for the Waterfall, as much damage as I possibly can muster, and I got a little bit. I got like 40% damage there. Thunderbolt gets absorbed there. So beautiful play to stay in this battle at the moment, and we got Dazzling Gleam. So like, all right. That would have done a lot more damage if I Mega Evolved. So I'm like, okay, we've got Fake Out. I've got Helping Hand. I was like, Helping Hand, Mega Gyarados. Looking at the damage that I did to him, I did 40%. So if I go a Helping Hand plus the Mega, this is going to get really close to taking them out here. And I mean, what's that Archaludon going to do? Thunderbolt? So it can't do much. So I'm guessing they're probably going to try and get rid of the Raichu. So like, Draco Meteor or something like that. So going for that Mega, we got the Mold Breaker now, and the camera angle has really changed, so it's sort of like gone backwards. Now, I was hoping they didn't protect this turn, but they did, so like, okay, fair enough. I mean, I really had no choice. I had to attack Meganium there. I didn't want to attack Archaludon because of stamina, right? That would have been bad to attack that. So here comes the Draco Meteor. So everything I knew they did. So nothing they were doing now was taking me by surprise. I just didn't have the tools to be able to deal with this at the moment. I still thought I could get around this. I was still in a strong place, at least with my Gyarados. So that's no longer disabled. Reflector's gone. And we've got Sableye, and I've got Garchomp as well. So Garchomp has Iron Head virtually for this reason, because of these fairy-type Pokemon. So I thought, if I can bait the Archaludon to go for it with, say, another Draco Meteor, okay, Garchomp's going to take some nasty damage, but, Waterfall plus Iron Head will take out the Meganium, which is a very, very soft, sort of counter. All they got to do is press Dazzling Gleam, and they don't really have to do a lot. So I have to get rid of that right now. So waiting for them to make their move. They can't use Protect. I mean, they can if they want to double protect. So here comes the Waterfall here. Really big damage there. Really good stuff. And Garchomp is going to outspeed too. And with the Iron Head, it finally... So now they're going to have to work a bit. Their easy, their easy counter Pokemon is gone. So it's like, this is good. I've actually got a chance here now. So here comes the Draco Meteor. They obviously aiming for Garchomp. It still did a lot of damage, This Garchomp's just a normal, sweeping set. Nothing super special except I ran all attacking moves on it. No Protect or anything like that. So I've got Gyarados as like my key Pokemon now. I have to keep that alive. And I'm thinking here, well, Archaludon is a pain because of stamina, right? So I've got to get rid of these other Pokemon. So now they took a long time to think of that too. So they got the Alakazam, and we know they've got their little Basculegion in the back as well. Their little like Last Respects trampoline, right? So we want to go for Crunch on the Alakazam. Now I wasn't sure whether they had Focus Sash in this. I'm like, if this has Focus Sash, I think it might be over. I was like, I'm going to preserve my Garchomp just in case. Like, just in case it doesn't, I'll go into Sableye, right? Sableye might be able to tank, like, another attack. I might be able to disable something. Longbeard did not have Sash, so I could be wrong. That might have been Mega Alakazam, but I know they already had a Mega, but it might have had its Mega Stone. Here comes the Thunderbolt, but since I'm not 4 times super effective anymore, this thing hits like a wet paper bag. And then they get a pity paralyzer. So that was stupidly lucky getting that. So I'm like, man, that really sucks. So that was bad. So now I've sort of lost my speed control. So they've got Basculegion. I'm thinking, all right, I'm somehow winning at the moment. So I'm thinking, okay, what can we do here? I've got to try and save my Gyarados here. Like, I think that if I can get around Basculegion, I definitely have this right. I just have to get around Basculegion, which is going to be kind of tough. So I'm thinking I'll set the Reflect up. And I know they're going to have Last Respects, and this is a typical Basculegion set, nothing amazing. So here comes the Last Respect spam, and Sableye is going to, well, it's going to faint there, but it took the attack. That was the main thing. Archaludon was virtually just a bot now because it had like -6 special attack. So it wasn't doing, I mean, that's the most damage it's going to do now. So it was doing nothing. So I just could easily ignore that. I was able to get the Crunch off, and Basculegion's down. So that's perfect. So I'm like, all right, we got this. This is good. I've got one more Pokemon left, which is Garchomp. So I'm like, okay, I've got to make a decision here because Garchomp really didn't have a lot of health left. And even at -6, I think that, Draco Meteor was getting very close to be able to... I might be able to live like 1, but not 2. So I thought, all right, I'm going to go for Protect here. I feel like they're going to go for Garchomp instead of, Mega Gyarados because they know that that's the threat with Earthquake. So I thought about this for a bit, like, I'm just going to go for Earthquake now. They're going to have to go for one of the 2 Pokemon. So I went for Protect. I got the Protect, which is awesome. And now I can go for the Earthquake on Archaludon. So I didn't expect this to faint. I expected, probably 3/4 damage. And it did a little bit more. So I was like, cool, that's awesome. Anyway, so they got a stamina boost, which is to be expected. Here comes the Draco Meteor. So I'm like, all right, this is probably going to be aimed at Garchomp, right? And Garchomp is going to faint. So that would have been pretty close. That was a -6. Wait, no, that wasn't -6. That was... I'm losing... Anyway, so Garchomp fainted. I expected that anyway. So now with Gyarados, I still have a good chance, a very, very good chance here. So I've got Crunch. I was like, Crunch should take them out here. This should be like, a good amount of damage. This should take them out. They've only got +1, 2. And they're going to stall with Protect here. So I'm like, oh, here we go. So they're stalling and stalling and stalling with, Stamina and Protect. I just went for Crunch there. But I was still confident I could, Gyarados has a lot of special defense, and they've got virtually no special attack now. So, all right, 2 Crunches should take them out. Or I just Dragon Dance. How about I just Dragon Dance here? I mean, what are they going to do? So here comes the Thunderbolt here, and they got a pity crit. You wouldn't read about it. So they got that paralyzed earlier on, and then they got a game-changing Thunderbolt there. And their team was a better counter, so like that was an amazing battle still, but like I was really happy how well I did against that team, but unfortunately I never got rewarded at all for how well I played. They got all the RNG there, which sucks, but that's Pokemon for you. Let's go to the next battle. There was some person in the comments that was like, oh, you never post your losses. There you go, homie. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got your adrenaline rush over that. for the record, I do post wins and losses, but I look at how entertaining the battle is. Is it a good battle? Was it close? Does cool things happen? Stuff like that. I don't normally care about win or loss, mostly. Okay, so we've got Farigiraf and Typhlosion here. This smells like an Eruption, anti-Trick Room lead here, yeah? That sort of thing. Or Helping Hand, Trick Room, to get rid of Trick Rooms and that sort of thing. So I've got Gyarados and Sableye. So I figured, okay, well, I actually kind of want to get rid of Farigiraf, but I also want to get rid of that Typhlosion spamming Eruption too. So first play here is to set up Light Screen. Love that Prankster screen set. It's really, really good. So Eruption is going to hit. I mean, Sableye takes a massive amount of damage there still from Helping Hand. And I Dragon Dance this then. I was confident I could live absolutely anything that, it did to me. That's the good thing about base Gyarados. It still is, good special defense. So now I was like, well, I should be able to outspeed this Typhlosion unless it's something like, say, Choice Scarf. That'll be kind of bad. So we got the Helping Hand here again. I went for Rain Dance because Sableye was going to set up the Gyarados, right? So now I was like, oh, I can go for Waterfall and I can go for like Knockoff. This will be really, really good. So we got the Rain Flying and there was Choice Scarf and I was like, yeah, I don't even think Sableye is going to live that. So that's the end of Sableye. It set up the Light Screen of the Rain. It did its best there. It was a tough Pokemon to face. I mean, I could have gone for attack earlier. I felt that was the better play to get the... I mean, I got a Dragon Dance, and I also just got a Moxie then. So this is a real danger Pokemon now. Like, I can clap that Farigiraf in one shot. So Farigiraf seems to be their main support Pokemon. And I was thinking to myself, if it's only got something like Psychic, I'm going to be completely immune in Mega. So going into Sinister now, I just did this to, have a little sip of tea. And now we've got the Frostlass. Now, I knew the Frostlass was on their team. And I was like, man, this sucks because... when they go Mega Frostlass and they Mega Evolve and make the snow everywhere, I could go for Rain and get rid of it. But, it's gone now. So that opportunity's sort of lost. So with this, I know they're going to use Blizzard. I don't think... or they could... they're definitely not going to single out my Sinister. So there's not a lot of point using Rage Powder. I thought probably the better play here might be just to support the Gyarados because... It's like my main key player now. I got to keep it alive. So if I go for, say, Life Dew... that'll try and preserve it. So we got the Mold Breaker there, and I was having a battle too. What do you guys think of this? I reckon this is BS, right? So I was versing a Mega Meganium, and they used Solar Beam, and I had Mold Breaker. And Mega Soul still worked with Solar Beam. I feel like that shouldn't work. What do you think about that? I think that's wrong. I reckon that should, Mold Breaker should stop Mega Soul. The Solar Beam going, twice. Or like instead of like once, it goes twice. I don't know. Anyway, so Frostlass Cheeks got clapped there, and I got a Life Dew off there. I ended up actually, actually I sped that one, so I got all my health back to full there. But I don't know. It sort of annoyed me, so I felt like. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking about it wrong. I know it's a move and stuff, but it's still the ability of the Meganium. Okay, so we got Meowscarada and Farigiraf here. Now, watch this. This is actually... I'm going to give this person props to this. This is actually really cool. So, this Farigiraf was not the ability that normally would be like, say, Armor Tail, right? It wasn't actually Armor Tail. So, with Meowscarada, I'm thinking here, well, I've got Crunch and Waterfall. Both of those moves are not very effective. I mean, they're still going to do a lot of damage. Should I just nuke the Farigiraf here? I was like, nah, the Farigiraf has been very, very passive the whole battle. It really has done nothing but clap its hands, or I mean its hooves, So I was thinking, I thought about this for ages. I was just thinking what to do. So we've got the Helping Hand here. I just went for Matcha Gotcha at this point. And this was pretty funny. So I went for the Crunch on Meowscarada. I mean, very good damage. Obviously, it's resisted, but it's an easy 2-hit KO. And we all know that defense drop's going to matter. And they used Petal Blizzard. I was like, oh, that's cool. But I was like, wait, does that mean that has Sap Sipper? Farigiraf had Sap Sipper. I'm like, wait a second. Gyarados gets hit super hard and almost faints to that. So really cool there. Use of the Sap Sipper and, Shell Bell as well. Because it hits so many Pokemon. That's actually pretty clever. So I'll give them props to that. So I went for Matcha Gotcha, and the Farigiraf got another Sap Sipper. I'm like, this is going to be bad if Farigiraf. Imagine if Farigiraf had a physical move. That would be really, really bad. So Meowscarada is virtually on its last legs here. I've got a little worry here. I was like, this might use, Sucker Punch. If it's got it, that actually could use Sucker Punch. I mean, they've got nothing to lose if they go for that. So I was like, I'm going to use Protect and just go for Life Dew here. Just scout them out. I've got nothing to lose. And they use Petal Blizzard again. It's like, okay, fair enough. That's fine. I feel like that was worth the look in there just to see. So Petal Blizzard is going to do nothing to Sinistcha. It's going to hit the Farigiraf again. I think that's been hit like 3 times. It got a little bit of health back, but all in all, it didn't really matter. So Life Dew is going to get that Gyarados right up a little bit in health there, just so it doesn't faint to like a Sucker Punch. That was what I was kind of do. And Farigiraf has Iron Head, so it did have a physical attack all along. Like, bro, that was cool. So they had Helping Hand and Iron Head on there. Interesting. I quite like that. And Petal Blizzard, because Petal Blizzard really isn't a move you see very often. It's virtually just outclassed by, everything, right? Most people are going to use Flower Trick over that. So going for Crunch, that is the end of Meowscarada. And all that's left now is the Farigiraf. So like, gee, I hope that Gyarados doesn't faint here because, I mean, well, what's my Sinistcha going to do this? Matchagotcha is going to be feeding it. This attack rises every single turn. So Life Dew gives me some good health here. Here comes the Iron Head, but obviously they were heavily invested in bulk and it was not very effective as well. So we're going to finish it off with a Crunch and Farigiraf's family tree is has gone. But cool battle there. Good to see some different strategies being used. I like that. I like to see different stuff being used. And I do make an effort to. I have a lot of battles, but I deliberately pick ones that are interesting, right? So you get to see different Pokemon, different strategies, different things happen, different challenges that I have to face with the team and stuff like that. So, yeah, I always try and go for some cool stuff. If you're enjoying yourself, make sure you hit that like button. Let's get some likes. And if you hit the like and comment button, that means you get to see my videos in recommendations. Otherwise, YouTube will not show them to you. That's just how it is these days. I'm sorry. All right, we got Hydro Joe. Okay, all right, we Dr. Dre and Wiz. What? Okay, so we've got a. I was like, this is definitely a Trick Room lead. Now I seen it in the team preview. I'm like, okay, we got the Sinistcha setting the Trick Room up, or we've got the we've got the Farigiraf. I wasn't really sure. I was like, what if they're both carrying it just to make sure they really get the Trick Room going? So I thought this turn would be very fruitful if I went for Dragon Dance and then went for Trick Room. Because I know one of them is going to use it. And that way, if I go for Trick Room, they'll reset their own Trick Room. So we've got the Sinistcha going for Nasty Plot. I'm like, oh, this might be a sweeping set. And, the Farigiraf sets up the Trick Room. That could be interesting, like Nasty Plot Matchagotcha. So they set the Trick Room up. It's like, okay, cool. But then I was like, are they going to do it this turn again? Or not? Or, I mean, I could actually take that. I could take that Farigiraf out with a Crunch. But what if they have something fringe like a Colbur Berry or something like that? That would be very bad. And then they get the Trick Room up again. It's very risky, though, because if this, for some reason they don't go for it, or Sinistcha doesn't have it, or the Farigiraf doesn't live, I might be sending the Trick Room up for them, right? But these are sort of the challenges that you come across in the battle. Sometimes you got to make that decision. So like, all right, I'm gonna go for the Trick Room again because I got a feeling it's even the Sinistcha might have it, or they might have a they might have a Colbur Berry, right? So I was going for the Crunch here on the Farigiraf, and that took it out. So like, okay, that's gone. But this could also be bad now because I've just set the Trick Room up. But I was like, okay, worst case scenario. So they went Nasty Plot. I was like, oh no. So now I'm facing a Sinistcha with +4 in special attack, and I set the Trick Room. So maybe I was a little bit too cautious there, expecting that. But, it is what it is now. It's done. So I thought, all right, all I got to do is just get rid of that Trick Room. That also puts me in a unique position too, because that means that my Sinistcha is going to be a big target. Snoop Dogg? What the? Snoop Dogg's Cloud9. Oh, they did that on purpose. All right, I'll give them credit. That one made me laugh. That one made me laugh. Okay. All right, let's get a like on the video for the draft for Snoop Dogg. Who is this person? Like, if you guys battle me too in the video, just leave a comment below. I always like to know if I battle people. I always like to say good game and stuff like that. All right, where were we? So we got the Mega Tramper here. It's on a cloud, and And I went for I had to go for Protect here. I was thinking about, but I was like, they're just going to use Gotcha, and my Gyarados is going to get absolutely destroyed. So Flamethrower does a lot of damage there to my Sinistcha. It's funny, because I was actually going to run Occa Berry, and I didn't this time. Here comes the Gotcha. That's going to get blocked by Gyarados. But this is quite specially defensive, and I do live. I was like, oh, fuel, that was so close. So I wiped the sweat from my brow and set up the Trick Room. So that was almost a disaster there. That was almost over. Okay, so now we got to deal with Snoop Dogg now. Okay, so we got Life Dew. We also got Rage Powder. So I thought, well, if I go Rage Powder, I can bring the heat off me. You know, that Flamethrower, I've got to get rid of that. And I can get this Sinistcha. I have to get rid of this Sinistcha, right? I've got to go for Crunch. Obviously, Rage Powder will be ignored by other grass types too, and you know, Gotcha is going to be the move they're going to spam anyway. So going for the Crunch there, no scummy items, and that's the end of the Sinistcha. That's good. Now I know that my Sinistcha is going to faint this turn. They went for Thunderbolt there. I mean, same sort of thing. I would have taken a lot of damage and fainted. So that is the end of the Sinistcha. But that was good. That wasn't too bad. So now I've got 3 Pokemon left. I've got my Sableye and Archiludin. These are probably, I want to say they were probably the most common 4 that I brought throughout it. And then sometimes, Archiludin would fill the gap if I noticed the opponent had a rain team or I needed a bit of special attack prowess on my team or something like that. Or maybe Garchomp. Garchomp doesn't work bad with base Gyarados because you can use Earthquake while it's flying. So that was kind of nice too. All right, so we got Goodra, and we're going to go for protection here. We're definitely going to do that. And Sableye, I figured, is going to get a light screen up. That's a no-brainer. They're both special attacking Pokemon. I know that Mega Drampa is, and, probably Goodra as well. Unless they got some crazy-ass, Gyro Ball or something like that. All right, so everyone is aiming their attacks at the Gyarados. It's a big target. I mean, it does have a lot of its health back here. Now, with the Drampa, I was like, I don't really want to activate Berserk because that won't be too much fun. And this Goodra is probably going to be pretty tanky, so I'm going to go for Disable. Now I know that they're going to go for Thunderbolt. I can disable that, which is super effective. So go for Crunch. I figured it'd be about a 2-hit KO, and it was good. So Flash Cannon, I figured they'd go for Sableye because Sableye was the little support Pokemon, helping out Gyarados. Obviously, once again, this combo is weak to Fairy as well. So something like, say, Hyper Voice Sylveon would be bad. So I'd have to do something. It's a bit difficult, right, to get around that. Anyway, they ended up forfeiting. I mean, let's be real. There wasn't much they could do there. That they were pretty well countered by my team. All right, next battle here. We got an obvious, very, very obvious rain team here. And we got a Mega Floatout as well. Totally not broken. So I'm going to take a sip here. Okay, sip of my Sinistcha. Okay, so we got a Gyarados and Raichu this time. Now, Esparza, I was thinking this is going to be a speed boost set. Or it could be Opportunist. It's hard to know. It can run both. So, obviously, I didn't want to go for Fake Out on Archiludin and give it a free stamina. That was a problem. Gyarados can get Earthquake as well. But I found that, I did try it for a little bit, but I found it a little bit difficult, especially in double. I didn't think it wasn't much chop in doubles at all. It's better, it's better maybe in, say, singles. But then I like to use Ice Fang as well. Like, Ice Fang's quite a good move. For example, say you versus Mega Dragonite, you go for 1D dance and Ice Fang, Mega Dragonite's cooked, right? Because you get past that multi-scale. Matter of fact, I think I think that just a straight up adamant Mega Gyarados almost faints it in one shot. So they got that speed boost going. Now, I figured I could go for Mega Gyarados here, get rid of the Esparza, just in case it's got, say, one of those stored power sets or any psychic moves, basically. So I've got the 1 HP lift here with Raichu. Now, Raichu does get Endeavor. I love doing Endeavor on Archiludin because you can just bypass its all its bulk and all its stamina BS, and then you finish it with another Pokemon. So we got this Calm Mind set here, so they're definitely a stored power set. A lot of these stored power sets are very, very defensive as well. They're like, max health and defense, and they just rely on Calm Mind and Speed Boost. But that is not living that, no way. That's the end of Esparta. So that's a good start getting rid of that. Now, my next play here is to go for Endeavor, putting the Archlooted on like 1 health. So really, really such a handy move. But really, it's gimmicky because you need to run it at the start there. And if you're counter at the start, if you get, say Raichu, you got countered or something like that, lost the sash to a faster fake out Pokemon or whatever, right? That's where a move like Endeavor could become dead weight. So that's, you know, it's good, but it could also be bad. I got Dragon Fang on my Garchomp as well, just to make Dragon Claw a little bit more powerful. I say when I come in, matchups with another Garchomp, it's good. And so like Dragonite. So we got Esparta down. We've got Archlooted on 2 health, and I'm thinking, all right, well, we still got. I want to say they're definitely bringing Floette because it's sort of like low-hanging fruit to be able to defeat my team. It doesn't take like anyone amazing to figure out that I've got a big fairy weakness, right? So I know they've got that in the back. So out comes the Pelipper, like obviously, and Pelipper. Oh yeah, on this Garchomp too, I ran a bit of a savage set. I actually ran Stone Edge on there instead of Rock Slide, and I sort of did this on purpose because like, I know like Rock Slide's better, but I thought it'd be a nice little surprise move for singular targets, and it actually worked out pretty well. Sometimes it didn't work out so well though. But I wasn't really going for like flinching and stuff too much. Most of the time I was like, going for Earthquake or going for Iron Hit on, Fairy type Pokemon. But it is quite good for focusing the Pelipper. So I figured Pelipper would go for the obvious Hurricane there on Garchomp, and Archlooted went for Protect this turn. So I've got Crunch, which will take out Archlooted, and I've got Stone Edge, which is going to be for Pelipper. But I was like, Pelipper is definitely going to set Tailwind up. I mean, is this a standard Pelipper set? So I went for Archlooted anyway. I just wanted to get rid of that. I probably should have gone for Pelipper, but I was like, I'm going to go for the Stone Edge. Let's see how much this does, right? Good damage there, but Pelipper's just too bulky. I would have needed a critical hit to take that out. So here comes the Tailwind from the Pelipper. I was like, yep, here's the float. I bet you the floater is in the back, and they're just going to press Dazzling Gleam now. So it's not looking too good. Now, I feel confident I can live a Dazzling Gleam with my Gyarados and fake them. And I was like, well, Garchomp's got Iron Head, so I can go for Iron Head on Floater. And that should almost take it out. But I was like, maybe I should get rid of the Pelipper, or maybe they'll predict that and go for Protect on the flow at this end. So like, I'll go for that. So they went for Light of Ruin, and that missed my Gyarados. So that definitely would have taken my Gyarados out, no worries. And I just attacked the Floatet there with the Waterfall, which dropped it. And now we got the Ice Beam from the Pelipper, and Ice Beam takes out Garchomp there. So both my Pokemon definitely would have fainted there because of that Tailwind. So they were definitely unlucky there. There's nothing they can do now. That's why I think a lot of people do run Dazzling Gleam, because Light of Ruin can miss, and it's got that nasty recall as well. Obviously it's a nuke, but it comes with sort of risk there. Next battle, we got some single battle. Now, this one particular singles battle, so you guys are not going to believe this. It's just crazy. Okay, so we got to. Okay, this is it. No, wait, this is the battle. This is the battle. Okay, so we've got Esparta, right? And I thought this is actually. I seen this on their team. And I was like, I'm going to leave with Gyarados because I think they're going to try and do this Calm Mind, Stored Power, Cheese, and stuff like that. So I just went for a straight Dragon Dance here, and they're going to go for Substitute. I thought they may use Protect, but they use Substitute instead. Fair enough. So they got their little Speed Boost going. So I can match their Speed Boost with Dragon Dance, which is fine. I figured I probably need, say, 2 Dragon Dances would be enough, because I don't want to reveal I don't really want to reveal I've got Crunch yet. If you reveal you've got Crunch in a non-Mega Gyarados, that's just screaming out telling them you're running Mega Gyarados. And Gyarados doesn't always need its Mega Stone to be viable. It's still very, very good. So now they're using Calm Mind, and they're boosting their stats a lot. So I thought, I'm going to go for Waterfall this turn, and then I'm going to attack them with the Mega afterwards. So Waterfall is going to break the sub. I felt like they just go for another status moves there because they had a sub up. There was that was just literally nothing to lose there. So this thing is completely juiced up now. It can Stored Power sweep my team very, very easily. It's very, very, very powerful little set. So now I was like, I'll go for the Mega Evolution. I'll turn myself into a Dark type. I was like, the worst thing that could happen here is they don't attack me. They get more greedy and go for more boosts and stuff like that. Or they use Protect or whatever. So I went for it anyway. I couldn't really risk that. They had so many boosts up, and they went for Protect. So now, obviously, they know what I'm doing here. So I've got that Protect. I'm like, well, the only move they actually haven't used an attacking move yet. If you think about it, they've used Calm Mind, Protect, and Substitute. If they've got stored power, they are completely walled. So I was like, they must be walled here. Are they, what do they do? So I'm using Crunch on breaking this up. So they're continuing to set this sub up, which I found kind of interesting. So like, are they just, stalling me here at this? Are they just hoping that I'll, forfeit the battle because I can't be bothered going through all of this? So, I mean, and there are people like that. And there are also people that'll timer stall too when they're losing. And they'll, because one thing I really dislike in this game is, say you're winning easily, right? And there's a person that's stalling with, say, a Toxapex or, something like that. And they just timer stall it down to the timer. They actually don't lose. It's actually a draw. It's really, and they don't lose their rank either. I think that's like really bad. Like that encourages that, like, I think that, I reckon that's like super bad sportsmanship. Like you lost, right? The person's got 2 Pokemon, you've got 1. You lost, right? That's how I reckon it should be. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Anyway, so they finally did it. They had Baton Pass and they went and took a Fable. Like, what the heck? So I went for Crunch and it packed a punch. That did half their health here. So I'm thinking, what are you going to do with this? Dazzling Gleam or Moonblast? Then they went for Mega Clefable. I was like, oh, okay. Mega Clefable. I actually haven't done this one yet. So Mega Clefable is pretty tanky. And I just went for Waterfall. They outsped me and went for an Ice Beam. I was like, okay, that's going to do nothing, right? And of course, guess what happened? They got a freeze. I'm like, bro, that was complete luck, right? So now after stalling me, also, by the way, when they did that Protect and Substitute, I cut out long periods of them using, like, communicating in between. I just want to say that too. So now that they froze me, magically they started picking their turns faster. Wow, who would have ever guessed that? Then they got a special defense drop on their... Okay, so their first attack was a freeze on Ice Beam, straight away. Second first attack on Shadow Ball, insta special defense drops. I'm like... They're just getting non-stop W's handed to them. Like they completely don't even deserve this. Then I thaw out. I'm like, okay, here we go. We got some karma, and that's the Clefable down. I'm like, awesome. So all I got to do now is take out the Spartha and the other Pokemon here. And you know what they did? They forfeited the battle. Like that. To me, that's like you got crazy. You stalled for ages. You got insane luck. At least you could have played that battle out. Okay, so our next battle here is another singles battle. Now, this is Mega Kangaskhan, Mega Lucario, or Mega Venusaur. But I'm leaning towards Mega Kangaskhan because that's going to probably be the most, viable one. So we got a Mega Kangaskhan lead it. Now, this Pelipper here was actually meant to have Tailwind, but I didn't have it on there, so that's why I'm not running it for, if you're curious. So swapping out here, I just set the rain up for Mega Gyarados, and I went into Archery. I was like, they're just going to go Fake Out, or if they don't go Fake Out, they'll do a Parental Bond hit. And, 2 hits will give me 2 stamina. So that's, pretty solid. Pretty solid start there. Because it's not like I really want to swap Gyarados into that. So we got that double stamina there, which is nice. So on this set, I've got Aura Sphere as well, which is going to be useful. I've also got Electroshock. Actually, no, I didn't run Electroshock. I run Thunderbolt on this. Even though I did have Rain, I thought it's better not to run that. Just in case. So Kanga's going to swap out, and Goodra's going to come in. So for Goodra, I mean, this is literally why you have Aura Sphere on Archaludon, so you don't have to just go for a Draco Meteor and it lives, and then your special attack drops, and then you're cooked, right? So you have to swap out. So this is definitely why Aura Sphere is handy. Also, it doesn't miss too. It's nice, firing off a 80 base power move that doesn't miss. So Goodra's gonna eat its berry there, which is very bad. And they had Mud Shot. I was like, oh wow, that's cool. I'll give them props for that. So Mud Shot actually does a lot of damage and drops my speed too. Not that I was running any speed, but. I was like, I was pretty impressed. So I had Aura Sphere. I went for that. They actually missed their next Mud Shot, which is unlucky because if they landed that, they actually would have, Yeah, if they landed that, they actually would have been able to take my Archluden out. So now, this is what I was going to do anyway if it did faint. I was like, I'll go into Gyarados. So I swapped Gyarados into the Mud Shop. So a free swap in. I felt like I would have got that anyway, even if, you know, the Mud Shop, you know, landed. That was going to faint. So now I was like, okay, well, this is a good prime time to get a Moxie here. I was like, is this going to be too obvious? Should I just go for the Dragon Dance here, expecting the swap? I went for Dragon Dance. I thought, bugger it, you know, they might just swap out and deny that. Like, they know that I've got Moxie because they didn't see that. So instead of swapping, they went for Acid Spray. So that's going to drop my special defense harshly, which is not good if, you know, an opponent does have, you know, finds a way of, you know, living my attack and then, you know, hitting me with a special move. That'd be really bad. So Gutra's going to fake there. I got a Dragon Dance plus the Moxie. So now I've got +1 in speed and +2 in attack. So it's really rolling. So like, okay, Kangaskhan. Well, we know they've got Fake Out. And I've got, I mean, Waterfall's going to be hitting really hard. And so it's Crunch. So it's going to be Stab. So we're going to Mega Evolve into the big old prawn. I'm actually going to have my dinner in a sec. I'm absolutely starving. What are you guys having for dinner today? What am I having? I think we're having chicken and vegetables. It's going to, you know, it's going to get absolutely destroyed in like 3 seconds. Speaking of getting destroyed, Mega Kangaskhan. I don't know if that actually mattered or not. That was a +2 waterfall from Mega Gyarados. I have a feeling that one didn't matter. Last Pokemon is Lucario. Now, Lucario, I was thinking, does this have a Sash? And it did have a Sash. I was just thinking that in my mind. I was like, that'd be a good item, like Inner Focus, Sash. Not bad for singles. And yeah, this has close combat, and Gyarados is not going to be able to live the close combat. I think that would have... I'd say that would have taken it out nearly, you know, at max health there from, you know, even base Lucario. So that's the end of my Gyarados. I've got one more Pokeball left, which is Pelipper. I was like, well, I really can't do a lot here. I'll just go for a disrespect U-turn. So I outsped. I had max speed on that, and that's the end of the battle. That's the end of Lucario. So I hope you enjoyed today's video on Mega Gyarados. If you did, let's get some likes. If you're new here, let's get some subscribers, you know, new people. Let me know in the comments. And let's check my build out as well. So I dropped my doubles and singles build. Lots of people always ask this. And, you know, I'm leaving them every single video now. If you want to, you know, try my team out and stuff like that, just copy it. You know, literally takes about 2 minutes to make on the game. It's a good... I don't know what you'd adjust on this team. I think it was pretty good. You might be able to put Protect on a like Garchomp or something like that. And there's my spreads. I did have more specially defensive Sinister there as well than I normally would. Normally I have a bit more in defense, but I went, you know, specially defensive with it. Here's my singles team. That was quite a solid singles team. I think I got a 15 wins, nearly a 15 win streak on that one too. So yeah, I give Pelipper Tailwind though. Get rid of like one of those moves. Anyway, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you tomorrow for some more vids. Peace out.